Here are 15 more haunted castles, each guarding a dark history, restless spirits, and chilling secrets. Are you ready to unlock the eerie mysteries that lie hidden within their ancient, weathered walls? 1. Stogursey Castle. Stogursey Castle, a haunting ruin in Somerset, holds the ghost of Walter de Stogursey, the castle's former steward. Once a loyal servant, Walter was betrayed by those he trusted and locked in the dark, damp dungeon to perish. His body was never found, but it's believed his restless spirit still haunts the ruins, seeking revenge. Visitors report hearing the eerie sound of chains dragging along the stone floors, as though a man is still bound to the walls of the dungeon. Walter's ghost is often seen roaming the castle's broken corridors, dressed in the ragged clothes of a servant, his face contorted in a silent scream of pain. The temperature drops unnaturally near the old dungeon, and those who venture too close can feel the heavy, suffocating presence of something or someone watching them from the shadows. Late at night, locals say they hear whispers carried on the wind, soft cries of betrayal, and desperate pleas for justice. Some claim to have seen glowing eyes flicker in the darkness, and a sudden chill will grip them as if they're being pulled into the very agony Walter once endured. His spirit, trapped by his cruel death, continues to haunt Stogursey Castle, forever bound to the place of his torment. 2. Dartmouth Castle. Dartmouth Castle, perched at the mouth of the River Dart, is haunted by the ghost of Sir John Hawley, a ruthless knight and pirate. After his death, his spirit is said to have remained, eternally guarding the fortress he once commanded. Visitors often see his ghostly figure in full armor, pacing the battlements, his eyes fixed on the river below. The sound of heavy spurs clinking echoes through the castle, followed by a low, grating voice murmuring orders. The air turns cold near the castle's walls, and a sense of dread fills the space. Some claim to feel an unseen presence following them, or hear a growl that chills them to the bone. Late at night, his shadowy figure is seen standing by the water's edge, watching for ships that never come. Those who linger too long often hear Sir John's voice, warning them to leave before it's too late. The feeling of being watched is overwhelming, especially near the castle gates, where many report an intense, bone-chilling cold. His spirit remains trapped in the castle, unable to escape the legacy of his cruelty, forever guarding the fortress with the fury of a soul bound by vengeance. Some believe his ghost is still waiting for a final battle, one he will never fight, forever trapped in his violent past. 3. Arundel Castle. Arundel Castle, dating back to the 11th century, is haunted by several restless spirits, with the most well-known being the ghost of the Grey Lady, believed to be the spirit of Lady Blanche Arundell. Lady Blanche was tragically killed after a sudden illness struck her family, and her untimely death left her soul trapped in the castle. Visitors to Arundel Castle have reported seeing the Grey Lady wandering the corridors, her form draped in a long grey gown, her face pale and sorrowful. Her ghost is often seen in the castle's most ancient rooms, especially near the Arundel Chapel, where she is said to have spent much of her time. There have been several accounts of cold spots and the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoing through the castle's empty halls, as if the Grey Lady is still searching for peace. Some guests have described hearing soft whispers and a faint, mournful sigh, and others claim to feel an unseen presence following them through the rooms. It is said that the Grey Lady appears most often during the quiet hours of dusk, when the castle's dark history feels most tangible. In addition to the Grey Lady, Arundel Castle is also home to the spirit of Sir Richard Fitzalan, who was beheaded in the 14th century. His ghost has been spotted near the Fitzalan Chapel, where his tomb lies. Locals claim they can hear the sound of his footsteps on the castle's stone floors, and occasionally the faint echo of a sword being drawn. 4. Lympne Castle. Lympne Castle, a medieval fortress in Kent, is haunted by the ghost of Sir Thomas Wyatt, a nobleman who was executed for his involvement in the 1554 rebellion against Queen Mary I. Once a trusted advisor, Sir Thomas's life was tragically cut short when he was imprisoned in the castle, betrayed by those he considered allies. His spirit is said to still roam the castle, seeking revenge for his untimely death. Visitors often hear the sound of heavy footsteps echoing through the stone halls, as if a man in chains is walking the corridors. The figure of Sir Thomas is frequently seen near the castle's gatehouse, his face a mask of anguish, still reliving the final moments of his life. The temperature drops sharply near the dungeon, and those who venture close can feel a cold, suffocating presence, as though someone is watching them from the darkness. At night, locals have reported hearing faint whispers carried on the wind, as though Sir Thomas is still calling for justice. Some claim to have seen glowing, spectral eyes peering from the shadows, followed by a chilling sense of dread that lingers long after they leave. His ghost, unable to escape the agony of his betrayal, is trapped within Lympne Castle, forever bound to the place of his execution. 5. Old Wardour Castle. Old Wardour Castle, a crumbling ruin in Wiltshire, is haunted by the ghost of Lady Blanche Arundell, who tragically took her own life during the siege of the castle in 1643. Left to defend her home while her husband was imprisoned, Lady Blanche destroyed the castle's defenses to prevent them from falling into enemy hands. Overcome with grief and unable to bear the loss, she ended her life within the walls she had fought so hard to protect. Her ghost is often seen wandering the castle grounds, her face filled with sorrow and her dark gown billowing in the wind. Visitors report hearing soft cries carried on the breeze and feeling an unnatural cold near the ruins. The chilling sound of footsteps is sometimes heard echoing through the empty halls. Her spirit is said to remain bound to the castle, forever mourning her family and the home she lost. Late at night, locals claim to hear faint whispers and see fleeting, ghostly figures in the shadows, still trapped in the sorrow of her tragic death. Some say they've felt a cold, invisible hand brush against their shoulder, as if she's still reaching out for help from beyond. 6. Hastings Castle. Hastings Castle, perched on the cliffs of East Sussex, is said to be haunted by the ghost of William the Conqueror's trusted knight, Sir Godwin de Hastings. During the Battle of Hastings in 1066, Sir Godwin fought valiantly by William's side, but after the victory, his loyalty was questioned by rivals within the Norman ranks. Betrayed by those he served, Sir Godwin was imprisoned in the very castle he once defended and left to die in the cold, damp dungeon. His spirit is believed to still haunt the ruins, seeking revenge for the treachery that led to his demise. Visitors often report hearing the sound of heavy footsteps echoing across the castle grounds, as if a man in armor is still walking the ramparts. Some claim to see a shadowy figure standing near the castle's crumbling walls, his face a mix of anger and disbelief, as though he is still unable to comprehend his betrayal. The temperature drops unnaturally near the old dungeon, and those who venture too close feel an oppressive, malevolent presence, as if something or someone is watching them. Late at night, the wind whispers through the broken stone, and some locals say they hear the faint sound of clashing swords, as if Sir Godwin is still fighting the battle he was denied in life. His ghost, unable to escape the bitterness of his fate, is trapped within Hastings Castle, forever bound to the place where he was betrayed and left to die. 7. Okehampton Castle. Okehampton Castle, a historic ruin nestled in the heart of Devon, is haunted by the restless spirit of Sir John de la Pomeroy, a nobleman whose tragic end is still whispered about by locals. In the 14th century, Sir John was accused of treason by his own family, betrayed by those he once trusted. After a swift trial, he was locked away in the castle's dungeon, where he was left to die in the cold, damp cell. His ghost is said to still roam the castle, seeking revenge for the injustice he suffered. Visitors often hear the sound of chains clinking, as if a man is still bound within the castle's dark, forgotten cells. The figure of Sir John is said to appear near the crumbling walls, his face twisted in anguish, still tormented by his false conviction. The temperature near the dungeon drops dramatically, and those who venture too close report feeling a heavy presence, as if something or someone is watching them from the shadows. At night, the wind carries the sound of faint whispers, desperate cries for justice, and the rustle of unseen footsteps. Locals say the figure of Sir John can sometimes be seen staring out from the castle's ruined windows, his eyes filled with sorrow and betrayal. His spirit, unable to rest after the cruel fate that befell him, remains bound to Okehampton Castle, forever haunting the site of his tragic death. 8. Bramber Castle. Bramber Castle, an ancient ruin in West Sussex, is said to be haunted by the restless spirit of Lady Eleanor de Braos, a noblewoman whose tragic fate remains shrouded in mystery. After her husband's death, Eleanor was betrayed by those closest to her, imprisoned in the very castle she once called home. Was it greed or something darker that led her own family to lock her away? No one knows for sure. Her ghost is often seen wandering the ruins, her eyes filled with sorrow. But there's something unsettling about her appearance. Some claim she seems to be searching for something or someone lost to time. Visitors often hear soft, almost inaudible cries on the wind, but the source remains elusive. Those who approach the tower where she was imprisoned say they feel an unnatural cold, as if she's watching them from the shadows. But here's the question: what happened to her after her death? No records exist of her final moments. Did she die of grief? Or was there something more sinister at play? Locals claim that at night, her figure can be seen pacing the grounds, as if she's still trying to escape the clutches of an unknown fate. Some even whisper that those who venture too close to the ruins may experience a fleeting sensation of being watched or touched, but by whom? 9. Amberley Castle. Amberley Castle, a historic fortress in West Sussex, is haunted by the vengeful spirit of Thomas, a servant who met a tragic end in the 15th century. One night, after an argument with the castle's lord, Thomas was brutally murdered in the kitchens. His body was quickly hidden, and the crime was covered up. But Thomas's spirit refused to stay silent. Visitors to the castle report hearing footsteps echoing through the empty halls, as if someone is pacing restlessly. Some claim to see a shadowy figure near the kitchens, dressed in servant's clothes, his face twisted in pain. On stormy nights, eerie sounds of a struggle can be heard, followed by an unsettling silence. The temperature drops unnaturally in the area, and some even claim to smell the faint scent of blood. Locals believe Thomas's spirit still haunts the castle, seeking justice for his untimely death. His restless soul is unable to rest, still bound to the place of his murder. But who was truly responsible? The Lord or someone else with a darker secret? And when the wind howls through the ruins, some claim it carries a faint whisper. Justice must be done. 10. Taunton Castle. Taunton Castle in Somerset has witnessed centuries of conflict and tragedy, and it's believed that the restless spirits of those lost in its dark history still haunt its halls. One of the most chilling tales is that of Sir John de Taunton, a knight who met a brutal end at the hands of his enemies. After being captured in a failed battle, he was imprisoned within the castle's dungeons, where he endured months of torture before being executed. Visitors often report hearing the sound of heavy chains dragging across the cold stone floors, as if someone is still bound in the dungeons, trapped by the weight of their fate. Sir John's ghost is frequently seen in the castle's hallways, his face contorted in agony, forever reliving the final moments of his life. The air grows unnaturally cold near the dungeon, and the sense of being watched becomes overwhelming. At night, locals claim they've heard the unmistakable sound of a man's voice whispering for help, only for the voice to vanish into silence. Some say they've seen a shadowy figure in the castle's towers, staring out at the land he once protected, eternally bound to the place of his torment. Could it be that Sir John is still searching for revenge, or is he simply seeking peace after a life stolen by betrayal? 11. Knepp Castle Ruin. Knepp Castle Ruin, a decaying fortress in West Sussex, is haunted by the vengeful spirit of Sir Nicholas Knepp, a once powerful lord whose life was consumed by betrayal. In the 1600s, Sir Nicholas betrayed his closest allies, leading to their brutal deaths in the very halls of his castle. His enemies locked him away in a cold, dark tower, where he was left to starve to death. Now, his restless spirit is said to haunt the ruins, wandering the old corridors in search of vengeance. Visitors often report hearing footsteps echoing through the stone halls, accompanied by an oppressive, chilling presence. Some claim to have felt an icy draft near the tower where Sir Nicholas died, as if he is still trapped in the place of his torment. At night, the sound of muffled cries can be heard drifting on the wind, and locals say they have seen a shadowy figure near the tower, his face twisted in rage. Is it Sir Nicholas still seeking justice for his betrayal, or is he doomed to walk the ruins forever, consumed by the anger of his violent end? 12. Portchester Castle. Portchester Castle, an ancient fortress in Hampshire, is haunted by the ghost of Sergeant Major John Ffoulkes, a military man who met a tragic end while stationed there during the 18th century. Known for his strict discipline and harsh methods, Sergeant Major Ffoulkes became feared by the soldiers under his command. His downfall came when a mutiny, spurred by his cruelty, led to his violent murder by the very men he had tormented. Ever since his death, his spirit has been said to roam the castle, seeking retribution for his brutal demise. Visitors report hearing the sound of heavy boots marching through the castle's old corridors, and sometimes the distinct sound of keys jangling, as if a guard is on patrol. Those who venture too close to the castle's inner keep claim to feel a sudden chill, accompanied by an overwhelming sense of dread. At night, some have seen a tall figure standing in the castle's darkened windows, his face obscured but his posture rigid, as if still in command. Could it be Sergeant Major Ffoulkes still guarding his fortress? Or is it the ghost of a man who never found peace after a death that was as violent as his life? The air around Portchester Castle is thick with the tension of his lingering presence. 13. Wolvesey Castle. Wolvesey Castle, a majestic ruin in the heart of Winchester, has long been a site of fascination, not just because of its stunning architecture, but because of the haunting presence of a man whose legacy is as controversial as it is influential. William of Wykeham, a 14th century bishop, was not only known for his wisdom and political acumen, but also for his role as a key figure in both the church and the state. His intellect shaped the future of England, yet by the end of his life, dark whispers followed him like a shadow. Betrayal, political rivalry, and accusations of treason marred his final years. After his death, strange occurrences began to plague the castle. The ghostly figure of a tall, shadowy man, often seen wearing the flowing robes of an ecclesiastical bishop, has been reported wandering through the ruins of the castle. Some claim they can hear the faint sound of robes rustling in the wind, as if William himself is still conducting secret meetings in the empty chambers where once the weight of his decisions hung heavy. Even more unsettling are the reports of sudden temperature drops near the ruins of what was once his chamber. Those brave enough to approach say a palpable sadness fills the air, a sorrow so intense that it's almost suffocating. Is William's spirit still seeking redemption for the sins that may have led to his downfall, or is he forever trapped, haunted by the very place where his fate was sealed? 14. Highcliffe Castle. Perched above the rugged cliffs of Dorset, Highcliffe Castle is an idyllic picture of Victorian elegance. But beneath its pristine facade, there lies a shadow, a tragedy that still lingers in the form of a restless spirit. The story begins with Lord Stuart de Rothesay, a man known for his extravagant lifestyle, luxurious parties, and indulgent whims. Yet the sudden and mysterious death of the Lord in the grand library of his castle changed everything. Was it an accident, or did the Lord fall victim to a much darker conspiracy? The whispers of betrayal began almost immediately. Some say that Lord Stuart's death was no simple misfortune, but the result of a bitter rivalry, a life cut short by those who envied his power and wealth. The library where he was found has since become a site of eerie occurrences. Guests report hearing the soft thud of books falling from shelves when no one is around, the rustling of papers, and the chilling sensation that someone is watching from the shadows. Perhaps the most haunting sight is the figure of a tall man, dressed in the attire of the 19th century, lingering by the library windows. He's often seen staring out over the sea, as if searching for something, perhaps an answer, or maybe justice. Was it truly a tragic accident, or does Lord Stuart's spirit still seek vengeance for his untimely death? The answer remains lost in the windswept landscape, but the restless presence in Highcliffe Castle endures. 15. Old Scotney Castle. Set amidst the tranquil countryside of Kent, Old Scotney Castle hides a chilling tale of love, jealousy, and a death that was never fully explained. Eleanor, the wife of the castle's lord, had a reputation of beauty and grace, but also one of mystery. Rumors of infidelity swirled in hushed whispers, though no one could ever prove the allegations. But one fateful evening, everything changed. After a violent argument between Eleanor and her husband, the young woman was found at the bottom of the castle's tower, her body broken and twisted in a way that left the townspeople shaken. Was it a tragic accident, or was Eleanor pushed to her death by a jealous and enraged husband? The mystery deepened when no evidence could ever prove foul play. Officially, it was ruled as an accident, but Eleanor's spirit did not accept such a conclusion. Her ghost is said to roam the ruins, often near the tower where she fell. Visitors report hearing faint whispers in the night and feeling a cold, unnerving presence in the halls, as if the castle itself is holding a secret it cannot release. Some claim to have seen a figure of a woman in white at the window, staring out into the night, her face twisted in sorrow. The locals say she's waiting for justice that never came. Was her death truly an accident? Or is there a darker story buried within the castle's walls? And if she was murdered, who is responsible for the crime that was never solved? If these eerie tales have sparked your curiosity and left you questioning what's real and what's merely legend, why not share them with someone who loves a good mystery? Like if you're hungry for more spine-chilling stories, and feel free to pass it on. After all, maybe someone you know has had a creepy experience of their own. Stay tuned for more spine-tingling content, only here on Creepy Experience.